you to repeat that.
New Zealand, or metal might be my New Zealand sound. Because I like to listen to a specific artist or a specific song and associate it with a time in my life or a place or an adventure. And so I'd been kind of looking for a good New Zealand one, and nothing had really caught. But I think it might be Sabbath and some old school metal.
Old school metal. I can groove on it. Old school metal. Check it out on Spotify. All right, we are definitely recording that. So,
all right, should we? Is it Seattle's #1 podcast?
Hi, and welcome to Seattle's #1 podcast, the podcast that is dedicated to the first issue of your next favorite comic. I'm Larry.
I'm James.
Episode 114.
Oof.
James.
That's a lot of episodes.
It is a lot of episodes, but what about this title? Taint the meat. It's the
Taint
humanity.
The yeah, it's a pretty good title. It's a funny title.
It's funny.
But it's got a good pun, but this is a serious comic. It's a little bit funny. It's funny, but it's not. It's dark.
It's dark. And I want to talk about this cover.
Meat.
It's the humanity.
I think I would have just left it at Taint the meat.
Taint the meat. Oh God, it's so gross. All right.
It's because it's kind of making fun of. It isn't the heat; it's the humidity.
Oh my God, I'm so dumb.
And I like that, but I like better taint the meat
tainted
tarnish
meat.
it, you know? Yeah.
Tainted meat is so gross. Oh my God, this cover. All right, we're gonna dive into this. This is Taint the Meat.
No, Larry, we need a recent indecence before we dive in.
But before we dive into that, before we dive into Taint the Meat, it's the humanity. We're gonna dive into some recent indecent. I only just recently found this on the
internet.
On the internet. No, on Comixology Unlimited. Absolutely free. I don't know how many strips there are, but it's a strip. It's a Western strip called Shattuck.
How do you spell that? T-H-A-T.
No, it's S-H-A-T-T. Shattuck. S-H-A-T-T-U-C-K. And it's a Western with the main character being the badass Shattuck. And it's written by Wally Wood with art by Wally Wood, Howard Chaykin, and David Cockrum. And it's coming out in a hardcover, get it while you can, Fantagraphics book. But it's free on Comixology Unlimited, and it's strips after strips of the nastiest frontier Western, shoot 'em up, Western. It is awesome. Every single one.
We haven't done a Western in a little while. Maybe we should pick it up for one of our main episodes.
Well, I would like to do that, but it's just so short. It's 3 strips and done. 3 strips and done. And I have to say that I don't know if we'd have a lot to talk about because each one seems kind of like, oh, they're the bad guys. Let's go ahead and go and shoot them up. Mm-hmm. And that's not going to happen. We're going to shoot them up. And it's a shoot up after shoot up.
It's real quick. It's a quick
very
read.
Quick. But the art is so amazing. And there isn't a, they're the men are just like these grotesque cowboys, except for Shattuck, and the women are so beautiful, and none of them have clothes on.
Oh, okay.
It is nuts. It's nuts, and it is free.
What do they have on? Are they wearing furniture? They're all wearing barrels or something?
No. They are all dressed so scantily that it is insane, and it's just very kind of in the vein of Torpedo. Do you remember us doing Torpedo?
Yeah, that was a long time ago.
It's very. It was written in 1972, so it's not recent and decent, but it's new
to Comixology.
And newly printed on Fantagraphics. And I'm sure that the hardbound, like the hardback cover of this is just going to be amazing because Fantagraphic doesn't do anything but this is, it's probably not, it's of its time, 1972.
Okay.
And like I said, it is very scantily dressed women of
for adults.
It's adult, but it is, I loved it. Check it out.
You're an adult. You can love it.
I can love it, and I did. It's recent and decent. Shattuck, written by Wally Wood, art by Wally Wood, Fantagraphic Books. When it comes out, buy it in hardcover. But if you want it for free, check it out on Comixology.
Comixology, yeah.
Unlimited. The best, what a great bargain.
Best comic book resource on the internet.
For sure. All right, James, I'm going to crank you up so we can hear all about Taint.
Let's dive into Taint the Meat.
I can't believe I did not catch that pun.
It's a pretty good one.
Yeah, it's great. So, Taint the Meat. I want to talk about this cover.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
This cover is one of those covers that made me excited but nervous because I wanted so badly for the inside to be like the outside.
And
we know how rarely that happens. I was so happy when I opened it up and it was the same.
It is. But now, I have to say, before we even dive into this, to dive into this comic, I'm going to put the cart before the horse. I think the art is better than the stories. The stories are kind of...
I can't imagine the stories being better than the art. This is the best art of the season.
It is awesome.
Like, no contest in my mind.
Look at this cover. So the cover... So now the story... Now, the book that we're talking about is 20-something stories of a theme. Or maybe not of a theme, but it's just
a kind of like a general horror, maybe even a little bit in the direction of like a what's that TV show? Jeez, I was thinking about it earlier today and I couldn't remember.
Twilight Zone or
Twilight. Yeah, it's like a horror Twilight Zone or like a fantasy Twilight Zone rather than a sci-fi.
Yeah, so there's 20 short stories written by
Jack Davis.
No, they're written by Al Feldstien and illustrated by Jack Davis. And I'm going to say illustrated because this is illustration. This is art, but like there's I don't know, he is doing something here that just looks so fantastic.
It's so realistic looking, but not like human realistic. Like these are the best monsters I've ever seen.
And I love this cover because it kind of gives you a taste. Now we didn't get a Western in these first two stories, but we got our Crypt Keeper and we got some vampires.
Yeah, we got some vampire, we got some werewolf, we got some
but there's a Western up at the top of this, so there's 1, 2, 3 little peekaboos into what's going to be. So it's Taint the Meat.
Yeah, it almost looks like a film strip.
Yeah, it's almost like a film strip. Taint the Meat, It's the Humanity, and it's 1, 2, 3 plus other stories illustrated by Jack Davis. And we didn't get Taint the Meat, It's the Humanity.
No, we didn't read that one.
But the stories that we did read are...
what are they called?
So the first one is the Seance.
We did Seance, we did Bats in the Belfry, and I also read the Trophy.
Oh, okay. Well, before we even get into that, there is like 3.5 pages of
like intro explanation stuff. Now, I gotta admit, Larry, I didn't read that just because I wanted to get to the art so bad.
I didn't either. It is a lot of intro here.
I am going to go back and read it now that I've been satisfied with a few stories. But this art, I just had to pull forward to see if the paneling was going to match up to the cover. And it does, but maybe my one complaint about the art is that there's too much of it on each page. Like, a lot of these pages will have, 8 panels where each panel could be a whole page. So this was one of the few books that I actually read on my computer in the guided view, where it was panel by panel. Because none of there wasn't really a style where they overlapped. Each panel is pretty distinct and separate.
Uh-huh.
And because some of the panels can be a little on the wordy side, looking at it full page all at once it was overwhelming.
No, I agree. I do panel by panel for most of my comics, and
oh, really?
And this one worked the best for panel by panel because you do get kind of like an overlapping effect. But I got a big 17-inch screen, so I have no complaints. And and so once we get past all of the introduction, all of the prologue and stuff, and I'm sure it's great stuff because there's a classic picture of Jack Davis working at his storyboards, and it looks so funny. He's got his sleeves rolled up and he's working hard. But then we flip to this standalone page of pen and ink of a skeleton squished into like a very uncomfortable looking position. Like, what's going on here? Is he doing yoga?
That's a weird one, and it almost is different than the style of the rest of the stuff. It's only a little bit different, but and there's like a monkey's face in the background. It was a weird page. I wasn't really sure if it was connected to the first story or not.
I don't think it is. I think it's just an.
I don't think it is either.
I think it's just an exercise in what I can do. I just think it was just great. It has no business being here, but I was happy that it was.
Yeah. Yes, I agree. So have we mentioned that this is black and white art?
Oh, it's all black and white. Yes.
So the black and white plays perfectly into the creepiness of the vibe of these stories. There's really heavy shadowing. There's crazy detail in all of the folds of everyone's clothing. All the liver spots on the guy's hands and the level of hair on their arms is all variable, and the wax on the candle and the way that the shadows. It's this art. The closest thing I can compare it to maybe is like when we did the Scrooge was kind of close.
Right. Yeah, it lends itself to an older style of art, and each page looks like a page of art. Like, I don't know how to describe it any better than that. There's a on this first page when I decided to go panel by panel. There's a panel that's like a 1/16 page that I zoomed in and I'm like, wow, this guy's tie has so much detail that there's no way I could see it on the full page. I'm looking at it as a full page, and it works really well as a full page too, because it does just look like a great big, amazing page of art.
Yeah, and every page can be, and so like every character is completely distinct, but still very human. They're kind of caricatures, but not to a crazy extent.
Yeah, you recognize...
Nobody's like pretty, but nobody's like... There's some kind of hideous looking people, but they're meant to be that way.
Uh-huh. The main character in this first story is the Seance. And the main character is a fat man with a very distinct tie, and he is invited to a seance after... James, give us a little more setup.
Okay, so the
I'm a
setup
little bit
is...
lost.
There's this guy, and he has like a rich boss, and he's asking his boss for a raise. And while he's doing this, at one point his wife rushes in and says, I just went to the most amazing seance. And then his boss is like, hey, if you're asking for a raise and then wasting your money on, hocus pocus like that, I don't know if you deserve a raise. But then the wife tells the story about the seance, and